Hello there, Pastor Kelechi Chibuzo here, still on 40 Days of Faith. Today I'd like to talk about encounters. And encounters there can be positive encounters and there can be negative ones. I'd like to talk about two specifically. One positive, one negative. When you get saved, sometimes God meets with you in unusual ways. It could be a revelation, it could be something, but God meets with us from time to time. I remember years back, I was in Port Harcourt. I was a much younger pastor then. I was in Port Harcourt and I had gone to Lagos. I had traveled to Lagos for a conference. I remember that was the first time T.D. Jakes came to Nigeria. It was Christ on the Rock that hosted him. And I was excited. I wanted to be part of the conference and I paid my way to Lagos and went for the meeting. I remember that event. I attended the first night of the meeting, attended the next day, and then the day after that, I woke up in the morning, I was getting ready to go. I was praying, still having my devotion, when I felt strongly impressed by God not to go anywhere that day. That was unusual. I came all the way from Port Harcourt to Lagos to attend this conference. Why would I not go? But I felt strongly that I should spend the day with God. And after some battles within my heart, I decided to stay. So I just continued to study my Bible, continue to pray, and somewhere along that, nothing unusual, somewhere along that, time, that day, it was still early in the day. As I studied God's word and meditated, it was like something came over me. It wasn't physical. I didn't see anything. It was just a strong impression on my heart. And it looked like somebody opened up chapters of my life that I was not looking at. I had not been paying attention to. Now, I was struggling with people who were not, doing what they ought to do as believers, living right and, all that. As a pastor, you want people to grow in faith. You want people to grow in their relationship with God. You want them to drop some lifestyles and habits that did not glorify God. But here I was this morning, such strong sense of my own sinfulness came upon me. It was heavy. I suddenly saw myself. I suddenly saw my life and some of the things I had done. I was a pastor. I wasn't sleeping around. Those were not the things. But things in my relationship with God that didn't square up with Him. And boy, I felt like Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter 6, that said, "Woe is me, for I'm a man of unclean lips, living among a people of unclean lips." It was a heavy impression on me. And I fell on my face. I cried. I wept. I just wept and wept and wept. It was something else. After a long while, I felt better. I worshipped. I got into worship. I worshipped God. But I came out of that experience a different person. I mean, I wasn't too bothered about other people. I was concerned about me and my relationship with God, my encounter with Him. And I think I returned to Port Harcourt a different person. It brought such humility to my own life, because I could see that whatever I was, whatever I could do, was by God's grace, not by anything of myself. If God were to judge me by His standard of holiness, I didn't qualify. And you know, when your pastor has an encounter with God, where God takes him to the threshing floor, you better be careful yourself, because if he comes back from that place and comes to minister, you will encounter God yourself. And that's just what happened to me. So, even the best of us, we walk by God's grace, not by anything in ourselves. Then let me flip to the other side. This happened earlier than the one I described. I was a corper in Jigawa State. I served in a school, government junior secondary school in Roni local government of Jigawa State. And I got there. Jigawa is a predominantly Muslim state. And I got to Roni. The school I taught in was built by missionaries, actually. So Roni was one place in Jigawa that had missionary influence. That school was built by missionaries, even though, of course, it was then a government school, and the population of the place was largely Muslim still. Most of the students, almost all my students, were Muslims. But the school had its origin in missionary work. When I got into Roni, I was bothered about the state of people. I wanted God to touch the place. I wanted God to touch people's lives. And so I began to pray for the community. I began to really pray for the community. I would take prayer walks around the place, pray, ask God to, cast down the strongholds of unbelief and all that. And I began to pray. And then I went home. I think I went home for Christmas and came back in January. And suddenly I realized that I couldn't pray. I don't know what it was, but I just could not pray. I would kneel down to pray and the words will not come. Nothing was happening. It was just, everything was so dry. I tried to fast. I couldn't. By 10:30, it would feel like I would die if I didn't eat. The hunger pangs were so bad, and I couldn't understand it. I mean, this was me who could take time and pray for hours. Now I couldn't even pray for 10 minutes. I could not pray for 10 minutes. Whoa, what was going on? And I remember this day I decided to cook beans. And I had the Spirit of God say, don't cook beans, boil yam. And I'm like, yam? I don't want to boil yam. I don't have anything in this house other than palm oil. So if I boil yam, it means I will eat it with palm oil and salt. And I did not look forward to that. Lord, I want to eat beans. the thought came again, don't boil yam. Sorry, don't cook beans, boil yam. I didn't want to boil yam. After a while, I heard the Spirit say to me, fast tomorrow. Fast? How? Are you not aware of what's been happening? After a while, I said, okay, I will boil yam. And I cut up the yam and boiled it. I had tomatoes, ground tomatoes I had wanted to boil down also. So after bringing down the yam from the fire, I put the pot of tomato on the fire. A few minutes after, I went to check the tomato. I thought by this time it would be boiling over. I went to check the tomato. Nothing was happening in the pot. I looked down. My kerosene stove was out. What? What happened? I thought I had kerosene. I had enough kerosene. But that stove was dry. I went inside and took my jerry can. The jerry can was empty. I still can't explain what happened, but I was like, if I had gone on to cook beans, where would I have been? I was hungry, and now I began to thank God for giving me direction not to cook beans. But I decided, okay, so Lord, you want me to fast tomorrow? I'm going to fast. When I said I'm going to fast, he said, go to Kazaure, don't fast here. Why? Kazaure was the next local government. I had friends in Kazaure. Best, Isiwele, my closest friend at the time, was in Kazaure. I talk. I'd said that before. But I think that Best is one person who can talk more than myself. When we meet, oh boy, there is no dull moment. And I said to myself, going to Kazaure to fast wouldn't make a lot of sense. Best will be there, and they won't let me pray. I won't have time to pray. But now my kerosene was finished. I could buy kerosene in Kazaure. At the time, when this incident took place, I couldn't buy kerosene in Roni. It was just after a long season of fuel crisis. So next morning, I got up, picked up my jerry can, took some money along, and went to Kazaure. I got into the school, Federal Government Girls College, Kazaure, where Best taught. I got into the school, and as I was, walking towards the house, Best was coming out. Oh, Kelechi, hi, you are here? Okay, you're welcome. I won't have time to be with you today. I'm very busy. There's this to do, there's that to do. I was like, okay, God, you had this all planned out. I took the key and I spent the day all by myself, and I had a beautiful time of prayer, intimate times with God. And then in the evening, as Best was coming in, I was going back home. I went to the market in Kazaure, bought a few things. I went back home to cook. Cooked, ate, prayed a bit, and then I went to sleep. Oh boy. I woke up in the middle of the night with goosebumps all over me and the hair on my body standing up straight. Something was happening. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't explain it, but there was fear in that room. I mean, you could cut you could cut it with a knife. There was a palpable presence of evil in that room. I just woke up. I didn't need to be roused. I just woke up, and that room was filled with such evil presence. Then as I turned, I saw by the wall of my bedroom a being, huge, standing right up, standing on the floor right up to the ceiling. Huge, dark, real darkness. I mean, it wasn't something, Of course, he had a shape, a bit of a human shape, but it wasn't something tangible. You could just see that ball of darkness shaped like a huge giant human being. Oh boy. It was just darkness shaped like a person, but big, much bigger than a real person. Lord, what do I do? And I heard in my spirit, pray in tongues. So I began to pray. Lying down there on the bed, I began to pray in tongues. I began to pray. And the more I prayed, the more courageous I became. I found courage and I prayed more. And I just kept praying and just kept praying. And as I prayed, I noticed that being simply fizzled into the walls. It just dissipated. It just fizzled away like it fizzled into the wall. And I just kept praying. And then after a while, I broke through in my spirit and I began to sing songs of praise and victory. And that was it.
I walk by faith and not by sight. I believe every word of God, and God's word produces for me